Lois Wells, yeah. Lois is supporting the Barrington Issues Group. I can say good morning because it's 2 minutes to midday, and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor and councillors. I know you're very busy and it must be hard listening to everybody for so long. I'm a long-term resident of Spraydon, and I speak in favour of the 14-ward model as proposed by the Barrington Issues Group, which keeps the current number of boards. My reasons are that this model requires the least change. It involves little cost increase. It continues with the Hagley Ferrymead board and ward, and it is the most community friendly. Also, the 14-ward model adheres most closely to the system we have now and to what people already know. I believe that the people of Canterbury have suffered enough stressful change in the last few years. After thousands of earthquakes that you all know about and the trauma involved in repairs, I consider Canterbury people deserve to be allowed to keep as much that is familiar as possible. I believe that this helps people maintain a sense of security and well-being in times of distress. Some of the changes we are undergoing involve a costly rebuild with rate rises and asset sales, and although the 16-ward model does not involve great cost, it still means increased costs. In contrast, I understand the 14-ward model can be made to involve few extra costs. That is, if community board members are reduced from 5 to 4. I note that the 16-ward model increases the number of councillors by 3, from 13 to 16. And incurs the loss of the Hagley Ferrymead board. To me, this is serious, since it makes representation top-heavy with councillors and at the same time gives less representation to communities. This, together with the large number of changes to ward boundaries, cuts across communities of interest and destroys well-established relationships. And we've already heard about this from the last 2 or 3 speakers. I do not believe that additional councillors necessarily equates with more community involvement. Regarding boundaries, the proposed 16-ward model keeps together the communities of Addington and Waltham, which I applaud, but Summerfield, Hoonhay and Hillmorton are split up. Some Hoonhay and Hillmorton residents are being pushed in with Hallswell and Hornby, and may well be disadvantaged through having little say in comparison to if they were placed in one ward together. Similarly disadvantaged by being split up will be Woolston, which is partially in with Spraydon. Should Woolston residents have an issue over, say, traffic, and some of them belong to Woolston ward and the rest to Spraydon, I think their ideas would have less clout than if they were all in one ward together. Likewise, Horswell, Cashmere and Banks Peninsula wards. Cashmere and Westmoreland have little in common with Banks Peninsula or Horswell and should not be grouped with either of these. Indeed, with some small changes to boundary lines, the 14-ward model can be made to reflect community interests much more easily than the 16-ward scheme. Who is to do it, and how will we know if it is suitable? That is another question. My view is that it is best to make the Heathcote River a clear boundary, which the 16-ward proposal does not do. The city is shifting west and south, as shown by the construction of a new shopping area in Hallsville. This needs to be taken into consideration in boundary divisions and is reflected better by the 14-ward model than the 16-ward system. I understand that the aim of all this is to assist the population in general to make known their views to council, and I consider the 14-ward model with the current number of boards and 14 councillors, as proposed by the Barrington Issues Group, does this best.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming in. If you've heard me sort of say today that, you know, one of the significant driver is the Banks Peninsula being so far out of the 10% range. If we were able to resolve that, would you support us just retaining our current boundaries for another term and doing this in the next term? You know, I mean, currently, as you pointed out, we've got 13 councillors, we've got community boards, which people have spoken extremely highly of. I mean, I wrote down one of your statements: security in times of distress, keeping things the same, helps people deal with distress. So would it be your view that perhaps if we were able to persuade the Local Government Commission that the Banks Peninsula ward could stay the same, that actually the rest of the city could stay the same, and we could do this again with much deeper involvement? You know, it's only it's less than 200 submissions, I think, have come through, which seems very few compared to, you know, I mean, what's your view on that? That would keep it at 13 plus the mayor.
I understand that this would require a change of law.
No. It would just simply require the Local Government Commission to accept a submission from us that it be rolled over.
I think that would be very good. I think one of the reasons for the apathy at the moment is because people have just had too much to cope with, and really they can't cope with anything more. Yeah. I myself found this very hard to get my head around, and without maps, 2 or 3 maps, and I was lost.
Well, you've done amazingly well.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, I've got one. Yep, Jamie. I was going to call you Jimmy.
That's all right. Thank you, Lois, and thank you very much for your considered and articulate submission. Following on from what the Mayor said, and also the theme of your submission, do you feel that the current system then provides you an adequate way to meaningfully engage if there are issues which come up to you? Because we obviously want to be able to be responsive, and we're here for the residents. Do you find that the current system allows for you to meaningfully engage in the democratic processes?
I think that people just don't know how to get in touch with community boards, and I feel that a lot of education is needed. And it's good that we have these small groups, like we've had the Hill Morton group, we've heard from the Summerfield group today, and I have gone along to the Barrington Issues group, and that's how I've learned. And if people don't know to do this, or they don't know that they can interact with the community boards, they just don't do it. And I think we have to make it easy for them as well.
I think the irony is that the people that were very engaged in what was, you know, in a process that we've received a lot of compliments from, I should say, that people have come and made submissions and said, you know, the process has been really great because we've gone out and we've engaged with people. But the people that we've engaged with haven't necessarily made submissions, because this isn't, as you say, an ideal process. You know, it's the process that we have, and it's the one that we have to work with. But, you know, as you say, apathy is driven not by a lack of caring, but just having too much on our plates.
Yes, that is my feeling.
Yeah. Yanni.
Thank you for your submission. We had a lot of early engagement, and we, you know, had, I think, over 3,000 pieces of feedback. And I guess, you know, we've heard that there's been some comment that say people are just too busy. But do you think there's also a group of people that were involved early on that were happy with the initial proposal and therefore haven't bothered to make submissions?
I couldn't speak for them. I don't know. I'd be making assumptions if I agreed with you.
Yeah.
Maybe they just got lost in something else. I find that's what happens to me. I'm interested in something, then other things come up which are higher priority, and so I have to engage with them and leave the other.
Well, I think we've been extraordinarily lucky to have you present to us today. So thank you very much for taking the trouble and making the contribution that you've made. Thank you very much.
Good. Good.